Start? We should start?
We should chant.
Alright, Namaskar to everyone. And we are going to get started. As usual, we are going to start with some prayers. So let us all chant together. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Almighty Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we work together with great energy. May our study be enlightening and fruitful. May we not hate each other. Oh, peace, peace, and peace be unto all. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Almighty Lord direct us from unreal to real, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. Om peace, peace, and peace be unto all. Now to the Jagadguru, Adi Shankaracharya. Suti Smati Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. I bow down to the lotus feet of the Lord Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya, who is the abode of the Shruti, Smriti and Puranas. Also he is the abode of the compassion, and he also brings the wellness or the happiness to the whole world. So with that we will get started. Yesterday we discussed the first verse of the section Sādhanacatuṣṭayam in vivekacūḍāmaṇi, which is verse number 19. Verse number 18, and for that we had to borrow the previous verse, verse number 17, which gives a glimpse of the fourfold qualities that are required for a sadhak. So today we are going to do the next verse 19, which actually enumerates those four qualities. The Sādhanacatuṣṭayam means those fourfold disciplines are actually listed in this verse number 19. So that goes like this. Ado nitya vastu vivek pariganyate iha mutra phalabhoga viragas tadanantaram shamadhi shatak sampatti mumukshutvam iti sfutam. So the ado means the very first one. First one of this fourfold discipline is called nitya anitya vastu vivek. Nitya means the power or the capacity to discriminate between the real and the unreal, the ephemeral and the permanent, temporary and the permanent. So that's what this is very extremely important. That is the pariganyate means that is counted as the very first one, because as we discussed yesterday, the sequence of these fourfold disciplines is very, very important. First we have to have that vivek. Ado nitya nitya vastu vivek, that is the very first quality we have to acquire. Then only the other three will follow. The next one is called iha mutra phalabhoga viragas tadanantaram. And here Acharyaji aids very carefully. Iha amutra. Iha means here, amutra means there. So viragas phalabhoga virag means the dispassion for the fruits of action, not only here but as well as there, means the hereafter. Both are very important, and we will discuss how both here and there are important. We are going to discuss that in details. So iha mutra phalabhoga viragas tadanantaram. And then of course the shamadhi shatak sampatti, there are sixfold treasure. It's called treasure. We will discuss why it is the treasure. Samadhi shatak sampatti, there are sixfold treasure that we partially discussed yesterday, like Shama, Dama, Uparti, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. So those are the sixfold treasure, and so we have to get rich in those treasures actually, Samadhi, Shatak, Sampatti. And then the last one is Mumukshutvam, the strong desire to free ourselves, the strong desire to liberate ourselves. That's what is going to be the fourfold qualities. Now, as we discussed the Vivek, the discrimination between the real and unreal is extremely important. And also, it is very interesting to note that it is the exclusive prerogative of only the human beings. Only the human beings can pursue all these disciplines. Other living beings, such as like the animals, the birds, the insects, they don't have the organic capacity, the cerebral system to pursue. Like the dogs and cat cannot read Bhagavad Gita. Elephants and lions cannot chant any of this, any vivekacūḍāmaṇi or anything like that. They absolutely not possible. They are like go by their instincts. You can predict the behavior of an animal in a certain situation, how they are going to react, to a certain situation, we can predict. But in case of only the human beings, we have the cerebral system. The brain means I'm not a neurologist, but with a little bit of knowledge about the neurology, even I think the animals, birds, insects, they also have the brain. The neurons, they have got the neurons. And we have the same thing biologically, we also have the neurons. But we have the upper cerebral system, the higher brain, which we can do a lot of other things which they cannot do. Like the basic minimum things required for the survival functions, that can be done by the lower brain. But things like studying the Bhagavad Gita, trying to investigate into the truth and trying to explore our own nature, that can be done only with the help of the upper brain, which the animals or any of the other do not have. This is exclusively the prerogative of the human beings. That is why in Mahabharata there is a very beautiful shloka in Mahabharata. It says, Ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha samanyam etat pashubhi naranam buddhirhi tesham adhiko vishesha buddhir vihina pashubhi samana. So ahar is food, nidra means sleep, bhaya means fear, maithunam means procreation. These things are common between human beings and animals. Whatever we do, they do exactly the same thing. All these four things we do and they do the same thing. Maybe on a different scale, on a different level, but they do this. These are common. What is that excessive, that extra quality we as human beings have is what? Buddhi. What is buddhi? Is that vivek, that discriminate between the real and the unreal, the truth and the false. That discrimination part, that is buddhi, that is only the capacity of the human beings. But the question arises, do all the human beings have that buddhi or the power to discriminate? No. So in case they do not have, then what? Buddhir vihina pashuvi samana. We can call them as the two-legged animals. If either we don't have it or many people they have it. See, not that everybody doesn't have it. They do have it. But only thing is they fail to exercise it. Why? Because most of the time we follow the dictates of our senses. All the time we say, oh, there is a good food, okay, let's go to that restaurant, this restaurant, the movie, this movie, that movie. Do all those things. We always, all the time we follow the dictates of the sense organs. And then even if the Buddhi says, no, let's go. So that's the problem. So either the Buddhi is not there as born, or we have it, but we fail to exercise that. Then we are no better than animals. Buddhir vihina pashubi samana. That extra quality that as human beings we have is only this buddhi, the power of discrimination, and buddhi vihina pashubi samana. There is in Adi Shankaracharyaji, when he started the vivekacūḍāmaṇi, the beginning of the vivekacūḍāmaṇi, actually not the first but the second verse. First verse is, of course, he is a prayer to his guru. Sarva Vedanta Siddhant Gocharam Tam Agocharam Govindam Bhagavat Govindam Paramanandam Prantos me Govindam Paramanandam. I'm just Sarva Vedanta Siddhant Gocharam Tam Agocharam Govindam Paramanandam Pranatosmiham. I am missing the last word actually. That is the first verse, but that is, he is trying to, because his guru's name was Bhagavad Govinda Padacharya. So before he starts such a voluminous text, he wants to bow down to his guru. That's what the first verse is about. But the second verse, extremely important, he talks about all these things. Very beautiful, very worthwhile listening to that verse. Second verse is a little big verse, but very nice, 4 lines. So it says, Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham. First of all, there are, I think, 7 or 8 qualities listed in that. So,
lower the violin and then for the recording. Oh, okay.
So he said that Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham. Jantunam means all the creatures. Out of all the beings, getting the birth as a human being is extremely rare, he says. Jantunam Narajan Durlabham. So in Durlabham is rare. So that is the first thing. Jantunam Narajanam Durlabham. Tad Ataya Punsatvam. From that, rarer is still the manhood or manlyhood, whatever you want to call it. Not so. It does not mean that being really born as a male member of the society. No. So many male people are there who are worse than women. Male means the manlyhood or the manhood, getting with the real manly qualities. That is still rarer than as the human being. Tataya Punsatvam and then Tato Viprata, getting the Brahmanhood. Brahmanhood against not being in a Brahmin family, having the last name as Sharma or Mishra or Joshi doesn't make one a Brahmin. As Bhagavad Gita said, the Lord says, I have created this forecast. Chaturvarnam Mayasashtam Guna Karma Vibhaksa. Karma Vibhaksa. Not Jan. He didn't say, he could say very easily Guna Janma Vibhaksa, but he is the creator of this forecast, but not based on the Janma, but the Karma. Chaturvarnam Mayasashtam Guna Karma Vibhaksa. Tasya Kartaram Avimam Vidhi Akartaram Avayam. So he said, so then Adi Shankaracharya says that Tato Viprata means not being born to the Brahmin parents, but born with those Brahmin qualities. That's so Tasmat Tata Viprata Tata Punsatvam Ato Viprata Tasmat Vedic Dharma Marg Parta. And even higher than being born as a Brahmin is following this Vedic ritual, Vedic ways of life as prescribed in our Vedas. Following that is the fourth quality that is still more rarer, he says. Tasmat Vedic Dharma Marg Parta Vidvattam Asmat Param. Vidvattam means the erudition in the scriptures. It does not mean that you read all the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads and memorize them and then you become an erudite scholar. No. That is only the intellectual level. But the understanding or assimilating the essence of the scriptures is the bottom line. So Vidvattam Asmat Param. So that is, Vidvattam means the erudition or understanding the essence of all the scriptures. That is the still rarer or still higher. Now comes the main thing, that Atma Anatma Vivechanam. The third line of the same sloka says, Atma Anatma Vivechanam, that is the sixth quality. That is even higher than the Vedic Dharma Bharat Parta or the Vidvattam. Atma Anatma Vivechanam means the discrimination between the self and the non-self. Is the real and temporary, permanent and temporary, real and unreal. That is Atma Anatma means the distinction, a clear-cut distinction or understanding of the self versus the non-self. Atma Anatma Vivechanam Svanubhavo. Svanubhavo means realizing one's own true nature. Svanubhavo and Brahmatmana Sanstiti. These two are pretty much the same. Brahmatmana Sanstiti means the oneness of the individual soul and the cosmic soul. Brahma, Atma, they are the aikyam of those, the oneness of the Brahman, the Supreme Brahman and our individual self. That is the last quality. Then the last line is important. Muktirno satjanma koti sukrate punner vina labhyate. We said like that, without having acquired the merits of these things, for 100 crores of lives, the real freedom, mukti, the true freedom or the highest level of perfection cannot be achieved by earning the merits in the 100 crores of life. The goal, why Acharya said that it's not really to scare us. Oh my God, I have to go through 100 crores of lives. I'm tired of one life itself. What about 100 crores of life? The goal is not to scare us. The idea here is, before he starts this text of vivekacūḍāmaṇi, what he wants to impress upon us is that the goal is very far away and one has to work too hard, and don't take for granted that you will achieve it just in a few days, like you acquire the bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, postdoc and all that in a few years. That's not going to happen here. You may end up spending several more life, and that too with lot of work, like a 24-hour work. In Bhagavad Gita and Krishna talks several times, Sarveshu Kaleshu, means that this job that Krishna is giving us, or Shankaracharya, Jagat Guru is giving us, is 24/7, 365. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. That is the job we have to do. We cannot relax, not even for a moment. That's what he's trying to tell us, that muktirno shatajanma koti sukrate punner vina labhyate. That highest freedom cannot be achieved without acquiring the merits for hundreds of crores of lives. That's the goal. So this is what is the discrimination. The main thing I want to point out is that the sixth quality which says Atma, Anatma, Vivekacūḍāmaṇi. So that is the maybe I took too much time on this. So that is the first quality. Ado nitya anitya vastu vivek. Then iha mutra phal bhoga viragas tadanantaram. The here and hereafter, the dispassion for the fruits of action. This is vairagya. Yesterday, if you remember, we talked about vairagya. Several types of vairagya. One type we talked about was Tulsidas ji says in Ramayana. You know that nari mui graha sampati nasi mooda mudai hoi sannyasi. People become sannyasi in India or sometimes. Nari mui means the wife dies, or sampati nasi means the money is lost, stock market or fire or some other catastrophes. Then what do they do? Oh my God, I have to earn all this thing again? No, I can go to some ashram, he shaves his head, become a sannyasi, easy way of life. That's all. But then they are going to become the fake sannyasi. There are so many thousands of fake sannyasi every day you hear in the news. That is one type of vairagya. Now here he talks another type of vairagya is there. So many. Other people may have a sense of dispassion. They might have vairagya, real vairagya, but for what they do is they will go to some Himalayas or some cave in some ashram, and they will do all sorts of austerities, torturing their flesh, denying the bare necessities to the body, and all that they torture. That is equally bad. Swami Vivekananda talks in one of his talks here in the Parliament of Religion that one who plunges headlong into the foolish luxuries of this world, he has missed his footing, he is not going to get the goal. One who plunges, is not the word. One who plunges headlong into the foolish luxuries of this world is not going to get the goal, he has missed his footing. On the other extreme, one who has given up this world, gone into a cave and torturing his flesh, doing all those severe austerities and this and that, he has also missed the footing. He is not going to get the goal either. What is important is the balanced life. Buddha, Bhagavan Buddha, he attained the realization, but much before he attained the state of nirvana. He also he saw some people following those severe austerities, the fasting and doing penances and all kinds of things and torturing their body. He did for years and years together. And then he found his belly button could touch the spine. And he was almost very skinny. And then he realized, my God, what have I done? This body is the only instrument I have for doing sadhana and then realizing the truth. And I have wasted this body. Then he realized that, okay, now I am going to follow the middle path. He tells this to one of, the 10 of his principal disciples, he discloses this truth. That middle path, the balanced path is important, and that's what you see in Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. In the 6th chapter, he tells the same thing. He says, na atyashnatastu yogo asti, na atyashnatastu yogo asti, na cha ekantam anashnata, na cha adi sapna silasya, jagrato nahe vicharjuna. The one who doesn't eat at all, na ati anashnatastu, the one who does not eat at all, or the one who eats too much. Ati ashnatastu means excessive eating. One who eats too much, this yoga is not there. Or one who doesn't eat at all, also this yoga is not there. Na atyashnatastu yoga asti, ati ashnatastu yoga asti, na cha ekantam an ashnata. Or also for the one who does not eat at all, who fasting and all those kind of, this yoga is not going to work. Na cha ati sapna silasya, jagrato nahe vicharjune. Either he sleeps too much, or he doesn't sleep at all. He works like what, all the time he tortures his body. This yoga is not going to help him. Then the next one he says, Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. Yukta ahara viharasya. In food and in entertainment, one has to be very regulatory, live a balanced life. In what food and entertainment, yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Even in action also, one has to be very balanced. And perform actions in a very balanced manner. Either you don't work for like 24 hours a day, or doesn't work all the time, you sleep and all that. Both are extreme paths, are not going to work well. So yukta ahara, yukta cheshtasya, yukta swapnava bodhasya. Also in the sleep and wakefulness, one has to keep a balance. Sleep for only for 6 hours and then do the work and live in a balanced way. Then this yoga is going to be destroyer of all the pains. Yoga bhavati dukkha. So that's what he says in this. And then and then of course the iha mutra phala bhoga viragya. So here means if you read Bhagavad Gita, that is the doctrine of karma, and the central theme of the whole Gita is this: karmanyeva adhikarastha ma phaleshu kadasana ma karma phal heturbu ma te sangostva karmani. Your duty is only to the performing the action and not to look at the fruits thereof. So that is the central theme of Bhagavad Gita, and this is told by maybe at least 100 times in several chapters, kind of spread evenly over all the different chapters, very, very nicely. So that is the theme of the Bhagavad Gita here. So that is what it is telling, the give up the results of the action, of the fruits of the action. But what we do, well, a normal person, if you ask some person to do some volunteer work, what will be the first question? What is in it for me? That's the problem. And then not only Bhagavad Gita, you see in the Upanishads, the Ishavasya Upanishad, we talked about the first Ishavasya Idam Sarvam. Next verse also very important, is same as Bhagavad Gita. Kurvanneve karmani jijiveshet sadagam sama. Kurvanneva ih karmani jijiveshet sadagam sama. Na etatvai na anyatheto etatvai na anyatheto asti na karma lipyate nare. Ishavasya. Do all the actions that are required of you, whatever station of life we are in, whether we are born in whatever family we are born in, whatever duties. So whatever actions fall to our Lord, we need to perform those actions. Kurvanneva karmani, and then try to live for the allocated life, which is actually 100 years for us, the human beings. It is 100 years. How many people live for 100 years? Jijiveshet satakam sama etatvai na anyatheto asti na karma lipyate nare. This is the only way you have. There is no other way you have. That is the says of the Isha Upanishad says, na karma lipyate nare. But perform the actions, but how? Don't get entangled into the actions. That is the last thing is important actually. So this is the giving up the fruits of action here in this life, and then amutra phal bhoga. That's even more important. Some priest, somewhere we go, we meet some priest, and then he will say, "Arey, you do this havan, this yagna, this one," and then you will go to some such and such heaven. You are going to enjoy the fruits, and the heaven, very good things are there. They paint a very nice picture of the heaven and beautiful things. All in the Karma Kand of the Vedas. The Vedas said like that. But if you read the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about those. That those people who talk about the Vedas utter the flowery speech. And finally, instruction to Arjuna is Traigunya Vishya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna, Nirdvandvo, Nitya Niryoga Kshema Atma. The Vedas also are only the Karma Kand of the Vedas, which is the first, like the ritualistic part of the, which is called the Brahmanas, I think. Brahmanas are the Karma Kand. Then the second section, Samhitas, are the Upasana Kand. Last section, Upanishads, is the Aranyakas. That is the Gyan Kand actually, and that's what we are discussing here, the Vedanta. Upanishads are one of the triple canons of Vedanta. The Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, these three form the Prasthanatraya, or the triple canons of Vedanta. So Krishna in the second chapter, there are 6-7 verses, he talks. He doesn't talk very high of the Karma Kand part of the Vedas. The final instruction is Vedas are three, full of the three gunas. You become beyond, you go beyond three gunas. And that's what the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the final instruction is, we have to go beyond the three gunas. So that's what it is. So now, the 9th chapter, there are a couple of very beautiful verses. The people who pursue these pleasures of the heaven, what he says, Traividya mam somapa putpapa yaggerishva swargatim prarthante te punyam asadhye surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divi dev bhogan. The people who pursue all this, whatever the karmakand part of it, they have their minds set on those heavenly pleasures. In the heaven, those pleasures are really very, very great, because when you go to the, I haven't been there, but the whatever we told, whatever the Vedas say, that you get a very divine body, or celestial body, which is proof against all the disease. You eat all that gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, you have not get diabetes, no cholesterol, no blood pressure, no cardiac problems, no, because you have a celestial body. But look at the minds of those gods. They are maybe sometimes worse than us. Even the king of God, the Indra, look at his mind, and how you read Ramcharitmanas, right?
Right.
Sometimes how Tulsidas is portraying these gods, even including the Indra. One place, I'll tell you, Naradji is doing some tapasya, and his mind gets absorbed in the high state of samadhi. Indra gets scared. He said, Kamdev, "Arey, jaake uski tapasya bhang karo. He can take my chair." Okay, before that, first thing we need to remember is, all these names, like the Indra, Brahaspati, Yama, Varuna, Agni, they are not the names of individuals. They are the positions in the heaven or in the upper world. And individuals take, if Indra today, once his job is done, he will come down, somebody else will take his job. So that's the Indra actually. Indra is not an individual, it is the position. So Indra gets scared. Then he says, Kamdev, to break the tapasya of Naradji. And Tulsidas says, hey, look at this guy, he is the king of the heaven, and he is afraid like a dog with a dry piece of bone, and he is running, and he sees another dog coming. He says, oh, that dog is going to snatch this dry piece of bones. Like that, Indra is scared of his position. So look at their mind are worse than us. They might have a celestial body, they might be enjoying all those heavenly dames, like Ramba, Tilottama, all those Apsaras we call it.
Yeah.
So, with celestial body, no doubt, but their minds are maybe sometimes worse than ours.
Quran says same things.
Yeah.
Same attraction.
Same attraction, yeah. So that's what he says, Travidya Mamso, Rištva Svagatim Prarthante, Te Punyam Asadhya Surendra Lokam, Ashnanti Divya Divi Devi Bhogan. So if you do all these Karamkandas, the rituals, whatever the priest, the Karamkandi priest will tell you, do this, Havan, do this, you will go to heaven, you will enjoy all those things, but they are only for a certain period of time. You get only a visitor's visa there, you don't get a green card or a citizenship there. So the moment your visitor visa is over, you would be deported right away. That's why he says the next verse very beautifully. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punne martyalokam vishanti evam traidharmam anuprapanna gadagatam kam kama labhante. So once those people reach the heavens, they enjoy those celestial pleasures for maybe much longer period of time. But the moment those effects are over, they are dropped down to earth right away. And then this is the Gita, 9th chapter. This is the Gita says, and Upanishad go a step higher. Mundaka Upanishad says, Ishtapurtam manyamana varishtam nanyat sreyo vedayante pramudha. Pramudha. The Mudha means the fools. Pramudha means a little higher degree of fools. Upanishad uses the superlative degree. Ishtapurtam manyamana varishtam nanyat sreyo vedayante pramudha nakasya praste. Nakasya means heaven. Nakasya prastete sukritena bhutva imam lokam hinataram va vishanti. So these people who do all the karmkandas and with a desire to enjoy those heavenly pleasures, they think there is nothing else better than enjoying the pleasures in the heaven. They think that is the supreme goal. Pramudha. And the Upanishad says of the Upanishad call them Pramudha, means the superlative degree of fools. Yeah. So, but Nakasya Prashya, Nak means heaven, they call it in Sanskrit. Nakasya means heaven. on the top of the heaven. They enjoy all those things. Nakaste praste te sukritena bhutva. Afterward, what happens? Imam lokam or hinataram va vishanti. They come back to either this world or even the lower worlds. According to our philosophy, there are. This is the mortal world. We have 7 lower worlds and 7 upper worlds. So we are not going to list those because of the time. But they may go even to the lower worlds. After enjoying the heaven, they go to the lower worlds. And if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam and Puran, there are hundreds of examples like that. We are not going to get into that right now. So, but this is Iha Mutra Phal Bhoga. That's what Adi Shankaracharya is emphasizing, that if you want to pursue, really understand this goal of the final liberation or the highest goal of Vedanta, then Iha Mutra Phal Bhoga Viraga means the dispassion for the fruits of action here as well as hereafter, both are equally important. So that's the second quality. And the third quality is Samadhi Shatak Sampatti. So that we talked a little bit about. There are 6 of those treasure. Samadhi Shatak Sampatti treasure. Sampatti is what treasure we have. We have like the bank balance. We have good bank balance. Then we have stocks, bonds, gold, so many things. So then normally most of us, what we do is we check the net worth. As of today, what is my net worth? So I can plan, I can buy a house, I can buy a car, buy a vacation, what do you call that, a home, sharing home or something like time sharing home, or trip to Europe, Japan, and things. We plan like that. Depending on our stocks, the net worth that we have. Acharya is saying that forget that net worth. Check the net worth of these Samadhi Shatak Sampatti. That is the 6 treasures. And each of these 6 are so important, and we are going to discuss in the following verses, which come in the next 5-6 days. So that is the Samadhi Shatak Sampatti. And the last one is Mumukshutvam, strong desire or the urge for liberation, intense desire for liberation. And we talked about it, that when most of the people, if you say, oh, Mumukshutvam, we have liberated, what happened to me? Am I bound actually? I don't see any rope or anything like that. So that is the most funniest part of it. We are bound, all of us are bound, but only very few of us know that we are bound. Most of the people don't even know that we are bound. They are quite happy, enjoying this pleasure and all that, but they don't even know that we are bound actually. So that's the problem with us. So the desire, first of all, we have to understand that we are bound, and then we have to try for liberation, and we are going to discuss that when we discuss this particular quality in the next few verses when it comes. But again, just like Vivek, this Mumukshutvam is also the exclusive prerogative of the human beings. We talked about the 2nd verse of vivekacūḍāmaṇi. 3rd verse, exactly the same thing. It's not this is a long verse, short 2-line verse, but he mentioned those 3 qualities. He says, Durlabham trayame etat devanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha sansraya. These 3 things he said are extremely rare and are available only by the grace of the Lord. What are those 3 things? The manushyatvam, birth as a human being, and then mumukshutvam, the desire for liberation, and mahapurusha sansraya. That is the most important. The satsang, the company of the holy persons, most important quality. These 3 things are very rare. So the mumukshutvam is one of them, and we will talk about it when we get to that particular verse. Okay. And then now we are going to talk about the verse number 20, which describes in detail what is that vivek actually. The first quality is ado nitya vastu vivek pariganyate. So that is described here. Acharya says, what is vivek? Brahma satyam jagat mithyeti evam rupo vinishya soyam nitya vastu vivek pariganyate. So a firm conviction of the mind that Brahman alone is real and this phenomenal world is unreal. When we get to that firm conviction, when we are fully convinced of this fact that Brahman alone is real and this phenomenal world is unreal, then that's what is the Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivek means. Then we have the capacity to discriminate between the real and the unreal, truth and the false, temporary and the permanent. So that's what it is. So Adi Shankara in another place, he explains the same thing. Very, very beautifully he says, Shlokardhen pravakshami yaduktam grantha kotibhi brahma satyam jagat mithya Jivo Brahmeva Napara. He says, see, we have like millions of the OTB, crore, like tens of millions of scriptures are there. So many, this scripture, that, this Purana, this mythology, that mythology. They talk so many things about. But Jagat Guru, Adi Shankaracharyaji says, I will tell you the essence of what has been described in these millions of scriptures. And what is that? He gives those two declarations. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. The God alone is real and this phenomenal world is unreal. Okay. Number one, Jivo Brahmeva Napare. The individual soul is no way different than the cosmic soul. The Jiv and Brahma. That's what he says in the first verse. Brahmatmana Sanstiti. Means the oneness of the Brahma and Atma. Brahma, not the creator Brahma, but the Brahman of Vedanta. Those two things are one. They are not different. The Brahman, my Atma, the realness, that what we can call it also consciousness. The consciousness in me and the consciousness in you or everybody else, there is only one consciousness. There are not so many consciousness. There is only one Brahman. There is only one infinite. There is only one truth. We may call it by hundreds or millions of names, but truth is only one. That's what Rigveda says. Ekam sat vipara bohda vadanti. Truth is only one. So that's why it says Jivo Brahmeva Napara. So that is the Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So now there is very likelihood of this verse being misunderstood. You know, at our Vyavaharik level, maybe I'll try to give you an example. Let's say I borrow a large sum of money from Kasoliaji, say $50,000. I have borrowed from him for some work and all that. And when the time comes to give that money back to him, then you know what I said, we are going to the Vedanta class and today we have read this Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So you know this Jagat is Mithya. This phenomena was all false. So what is that? All this money and everything is false. So forget about that loan. Can I do that? That is the unethical, immoral and a very distortion of the scriptures to put them to our advantage. So that is, we cannot do like that. Jagat is mithya only our understanding of the Jagat we have to change. We cannot say that nothing is mithya actually. Truly speaking, everything is existing here. No, I see all of you are sitting, chair is there, table is there, everything is there. But we have to change the perspective. Our understanding of what this Jagat is about, that's all that needs to be changed. And that's what the whole of Vedanta, the scriptures are all about. So that for there, the scriptures, you know, the Isavasya Upanishad, first verse we talked about yesterday, but very worth discussing it again. It gives the solution that even though this Jagat is mithya, but we have to cover it with the Brahman, Isava, the God. Isava, the first verse in the first major Upanishad, you know, Ishavasya Upanishad, the very first verse very beautifully says, Ishavasyam idgam sarvam yat kimcha jagatyam jagat tena tektena bhunjita ma gradha kasyash viddhanam. So whatever you see in this visible universe, whatever the whole universe which we can perceive with the help of our five sense organs, cover it with the God. Means see God in everything. God in everything. That's all. So we have to, even though Acharya says here Jagat Mithya, but we cannot just deny this world. We cannot deny this world, and we also cannot escape the responsibilities. You know, like the second verse we just discussed. We have to kurvan neve karmani jisi. We have to live for 100 years doing all our responsibilities, karma and all that. But don't get entangled in those actions. But then change our perspective of the Jagat, the way we feel it today, change it and see God in everything. If you see a person, normally when we see a person, generally we tend to think, what can I take from this person? What kind of benefit I can get from this person? How can I get advantage by doing all those things? Change that, reverse that 180 degree. What can I do for, how can I be of service to him? What can I give him? What can I do for him? For any person, what can I do for you? So that we have to change. And see that divinity. See that divinity everywhere, in all things and beings. See the God. That's how we have to interpret this word, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. And not really, and Bhagavad Gita, so many places it says, like the 6th chapter, 4-5 times, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Cha Mai Pashyati Tasya Aham Na Pranashyami Sacha Me Na Pranashyati. One who sees everything in me, one who sees everything in me in everything, that person never gets away from me, nor do I ever get separated from him. Krishna says very clearly.
Siyaram mai sab jagani.
Siyaram mai sab jagani. Karo pranam jori jugpani. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, very nice. So all scriptures, all saints, sages have told this so thing. And let me tell you a little bit of story here. Ramakrishna Paramahansa. I am a little more into that Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Vivekananda. So he is considered by God, even as of today, after he passed away more than 130 years ago, even billions of people around the world worship him as the incarnation of God, you see. And he had like 16 monastic disciples. The first and foremost was Swami Vivekananda and 15 more. One disciple, his name is Sarath Chakravarti, and he became Swami Sādhanacatuṣṭayam. A very great disciple. He is the one who wrote the complete biography of Ramakrishna Paramahansa in 5 volumes in Bengali. The Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasang in Bengali, which has been translated 2 different times by 2 different Swamis, giving you the whole life story of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, okay, in English. So this Sarath Chakravarti was a great, even in his younger days, in his teens, when he comes to Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna, then he says, then Thakur accepted him as a disciple, and once in a while when the teacher meets a disciple, what is the normal thing they talk? The teacher will ask him, oh, how is your sadhana going on? How much japa you are doing? How much meditation you are doing? And things like that. And Thakur used to ask some other questions. So one day he asked him, that Sarath, which god or goddess you would like to see in your vision? Or which god or goddess you would like to see in your vision in whatever? Then he said, no, sir, I don't want to see any god or goddess in vision. I want to see God in everything, everybody. I want to see God in everybody. Then Sri Ramakrishna was very pleased with that answer. He said, but Sarath, that is the ultimate in Vedanta, or ultimate in the ultimate goal in realization. You can't have it right away. And Sarath said, no, sir, I will not be satisfied with anything less than that. Great disciple. So this is what it is. The highest thing, the highest goal we can reach is, if we can see God everywhere, in everybody, in all things and being, see that spark of divinity, like you can call it by any name. Christ called this the kingdom of heaven. Buddha called it the light of truth. Vivekananda called it the spark of divinity. You can call it by any name, but see, that's what, that divinity, the spark of divinity in all the beings, if you can see, then that is, you have reached the highest state. And not only see, then you have to serve accordingly, treat people accordingly. Not only just see and just walk away. No. Treat people accordingly, serve them, comfort them. If you see even a person who is not able to walk the street, who is hungry with food and all that, if you see God, then what? Give him some food, give him something, help him in whatever way we can. Then we have reached that highest level of God realization. That's what it is. And then the Isa Upanishad, this is like so many times people have so widely they have Jasmin is Isa Upanishad, I think verse number 7 in the Isa Upanishad. Jasmin sarvani bhutani atme abhut vijanate tatra ko shoka kya moha ekatvam anupashyate. One who sees all the beings of this world seated into his own Atma, for that sphere of oneness, where is the sorrow and where is the delusion? That person can never be deluded, because he sees that oneness. That oneness, unity in diversity, is the whole essence of the entire thing actually. Even the scientists who are working with all these things, they are trying to find also the unity in diversity. But our religious scientists of the Upanishads, they found it. That's how they came up with the declarations of the Vedas, the 4 Mahavakya of the 4 Vedas. Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman. Tat Tvam Asi, you are that, thou art that. Tat Tvam Asi. So that is, and then the Aham Atma Brahman and everything. All this declares, how did they come? After having found the unity in diversity. That's how they came to this. So that is what is the Vairagya. And then Jagat Mithya, there is another interpretation. Anyone who is pursuing that path, following this process of renunciation and all that, he will immediately come to this conclusion that this phenomenal verse is nothing but painful. They will immediately come to know, even though, I want to give the example of this Prince Buddha. I mean, Buddha, he was a Siddhartha, Prince Siddhartha to start with. Even though he was a prince, all the worldly comforts he had, but he gave up all those and he was pursuing all these things and all that. Before he realized that, came to that state of nirvana, you know what he declared to his close disciples? He said, like, Kshanikam Kshanikam Sarvam Kshanikam, Anityam Anityam Sarvam Anityam, Shunyam Shunyam Sarvam Shunyam, Dukkham Dukkham Sarvam Dukkham. That's what he came. Not much before he came to that state of nirvana, this was his realization. That Kshanikam is all ephemeral, everything is ephemeral in this world. He said. Then Anityam Anityam Sarvam Anityam, everything is temporary, everything is temporary. Then Shunyam Shunyam is void. That's how this, there is a sect in Buddhism which follows this Shunyavad. The Vedanta does not get into the Shunyavad. There is nothing like Shunya. There is no Shunya. But they have somehow their philosophy. I don't know much about Buddhism, but they have this Shunyavad as one of their sects, the Shunyavad in Buddhism. So he said the Shunyam, but he didn't, I don't know whatever he mean. And then finally, Dukkham, Sarvam Dukkham. Everything is pain, sorrow. That's what he came. So, Kshanikam, and then, so that is the, and of course the Bhasgovindam, which Kilaniji talked, there also there is a verse, Narani Dalagat Zalamati Taralam, Tadavad Sivitam, Atishay Chaplam, Vidhi Vyadya Bhimana Grastam, Lokam Shoka Hatam Cha Samastam. Lokam, the last word, Narani Dalagat, this life is like a Kshanikam, what Buddha said, Shankaracharyaji is saying the same thing in Bhasgovindam. This life is so ephemeral and like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. Then when a wind comes and it will be blown away. That is, Narani Dalagat Jalam Ati Taralam, Tadvat Jivitam Atishay Chapalam. So the Jivitam means the living beings. All of us who are kind of living beings, we are also like temporary, ephemeral, everything is ephemeral. Vidhi Vyadhi Abhiman Grastam, Lokam Shoka Hatam Samastam. Everything is affected by the Abhiman, Vyadhi means all those elements, disease and ailments. Abhiman means the pride and all those things. Vidhi Vyadhi Abhiman Grastam, Lokam Shoka Hatam Samastam. The entire universe is afflicted by the sorrows. Lokam Shoka Hatam Samastam. That's what it is. And then I wanted to. And of course, when we carry a dead body to the cremation, what do we say actually? Ram Nam Satya. So that's what, why we don't say the Ram Nam Satya through the whole life, and when the person is dead, and that's when we tell the Ram Nam Satya actually. So that's what is the Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithyati Evam Rupo Vinishya Soyam Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivek Sam Udaharta. So this is what the two verses that we had planned to cover, and then we can have some question answers actually in this regard.
Why on our scriptures make this attainment moksha so durlabh? Sometimes, like you say, discouraging, Like, sometimes for average human being it's very discouraging, 100 lives, 10 lives, whatever, it's going to take long time. You're not going to do it in this life, like that.
No, it's not so actually.
Yeah.
When the idea is here is like I said, there's 100 crores of life. Right. That's just a symbolic thing.
Yeah.
But what is really what is implied here is that the goal is very far. It's not so
Yeah.
easy.
Right.
Where we stand. But for some, there are 7.7 billion people in this universe.
Right.
And all of us, all the 7 billion people, out of these 7 billion people, not even 2 are alike.
Right.
People are having a different, they stand at a different level of evolution. Okay.
Right.
So, one saint who is standing right on the top of the ladder of evolution, this might be his last birth. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna said that those who will come here, he never said me, he never used the word I and me. He said those who come here, for them this might be the last birth. And people used to believe that actually. So, that's important.
Gita also says same thing. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschin mam.
Exactly, yeah.
Yatataamapi siddharam kaschin
Mam veti tathata. Yeah, there you go. 7th chapter.
Same thing, right?
Manushanam sahasresu kaschit yatati siddhe yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvata. So, out of thousands of people, barely one person will start striving, do all the sadhanas. Even out of those who start striving, rarely one or two will know me in truth, in reality. Tatvata. Exactly, yeah. There you go.
Same idea.
So, same idea, but if you find some saintly person who has stands very top of the ladder of evolution, how did he come there? He might have started this practice in 100 lives before. We don't know actually. Or there may be a way. It all depends on how intensely we strive.
Yeah.
That's right.
But Judeo-Christianity, they don't have this concept at all, right? You
Their thing is
very different.
going to heaven.
Right.
If you come to the Christ, you will go to heaven.
Right.
So that's where they stop.
Right.
That's where they stop. So there the concept of liberation is not there at all.
Right.
Concept of liberation doesn't exist there at all. That's what we discussed with Swami Vivekananda when he came to this country.
Right.
And so when he spoke in the Parliament of Religions in the 11th September 1893, the first speech he gave, overnight he became a celebrity.
Right.
People started inviting and all that. And then he started traveling and all that. So he was in New York. So in June to August, some of his American disciples, they invited him for you are so much tired, traveling so much around the country.
Yeah.
Why don't you come and take rest? I have a cottage house in the Thousand Island Park in New York, upstate New York. So yeah, come. And then, so there also some 12 or 13 people came, the hardcore Vedantist, and he conducted the retreat. He was not in his blood to rest.
Right.
So there also he conducted the retreat. One day he was just giving some lecture on the renunciation, and he composed that Song of Sannyasin. Very beautiful. Yesterday we chanted some of these verses. This passage, there are 13 passages, very beautifully composed. So he composed those 13 verses, and why he composed them in English? He could have composed them in Sanskrit. But the idea was to give this message to the West, because he came to this country. Two missions. One was maybe to earn some money, to start something, to do something good to the people in India. But the more important objective was to give that message of Vedanta to the West, and that's how he attracted so many of the Western disciples. Yeah. Sister Nivedita and so many. There are hundreds and thousands of people, not only here in US but in England also, because they found something extraordinary, new in this Vedanta. Earlier, if you go to the traditional Christianity, only just go to heaven. Go to heaven. Yeah, there is no moksha.
Yeah.
There is no moksha. Do good things. You serve people. Do good to the world, and you go to heaven. Enjoy the pleasures. That's what. The Christianity doesn't go beyond the Karamkand of the Vedas.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what the message he gave. The freedom. The concept of freedom does not exist, because first of all they think that this is the only life. You are here and you come to the Christ, you do good to the world and listen to Him, and you go to heaven, and they think that you are going to be there forever. That's not the case. Whatever you do, a certain amount you just build a bank balance. And with that bank balance, you can spend it for whatever period you spend and go to heaven, spend it. The moment that is over, you are back here. Bhagavad Gita says, Upanishad says.
Almost like Charvaka, right? I mean, they believe in the body, and along with the body goes.
Charvaka is still much worse than Christianity. Yeah. Charvaka is a full materialistic philosophy actually. Yeah, exactly. But Christianity, first of all, there are some passages in Bible. They say they quote. I mean, some of the Swamis they quote that there is a chance of rebirth and all that. But primarily, they don't believe in this theory of reincarnation, which forms the basis of the whole Vedanta philosophy. Whole basis. Without if you take out the theory of reincarnation, Vedanta crushes down. The whole Vedanta philosophy just crumbles down to earth. It doesn't exist without the theory of reincarnation. So there, you just do this and then you go to heaven and stay there forever. That's what their goal is. You know.
Just be a good human being.
Good human being, do
help
good to
each
the world,
other,
yeah.
and that's it. Right?
And then let's go to enjoy heaven and that's it. So that's what he gave the message. Yeah.
Was the theory behind reincarnation was to keep human beings